What's up everyone, Clark Glassford, founder of My Practice Interview, where I help you land your dream job. And today we're talking about how you go about asking for a pay raise. It can be one of the more uncomfortable things you do in your career. It doesn't feel natural, but I'm here to give you a nice 7-step formula to start preparing on how to ask for that raise so you get out of that uncomfortable state and you start advocating for yourself, because if you've watched my other videos, the only person who's got your back for your career is you, and you have to advocate for yourself. So I'm gonna go through that 7-step formula with a script in this video. You will love it. It'll help you prepare to ask for that next raise. But before we get there, you've got to go and like, subscribe, ring the bell to my YouTube channel so you don't miss videos like this each and every week. I am posting new content. If you are in the job search process, lots of great material for you to dig into to start preparing for your interview. Also in the link here and the link here, a link to my digital interview accelerator, Platinum Academy. This digital workshop will help you prepare for your interview in the most direct way possible. I cover off everything you need to know, including how to practice with sample practice templates for your interview, with actual little mock interviews that you can use to practice for your interview. Check out that link. It's the most direct way, it's most efficient. It will help you navigate through the tricky interview process with confidence, so at the end of your next interview, you are hearing those magic words, "You're hired." But you know what? We gotta get going. I know you wanna hear how to ask for a raise. Are you ready? I am. Let's go. So we're here talking about how you ask for a raise. Now I've got 7 steps here of things you need to think about in asking for that raise. As I said at the beginning, yeah, it's uncomfortable. It doesn't feel natural asking for raises, and it can be awkward saying, "Hey, can you please pay me more money, Mr. Boss or Mrs. Boss, and I think I'm worth it." Well, I'm gonna take away all the guesswork out of that for you today and walk you through that 7-step process. So the first step in that process is know your organizational process when it comes for asking for raises. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, some organizations, they follow annual performance review cycles. So every year at certain points during the year, they follow a review cycle in which they allocate raises and bonuses and things like that. So understand that internal cycle is important. You don't want to be asking for raises outside of that unless that's normal in your organization, do so. But if it's not normal and you advocate for higher degrees of pay or bonuses and things like that, know what that cycle is within the organization. Now, of course, if there is no cycle, then you can ask it at any given point. But here's tip number 2, timing is everything. You want to make sure your timing is perfect and provides the perfect environment for you to ask for that raise. So what do I mean by timing? Well, if you don't have an annual review process and you can ask at any given time, well, what else is there to consider? Well, things like company performance, right? So if the company's not performing very well and you go to ask for a raise, it might be hard pressed to ask for a little more money when the company's not making money or not making as much money as they normally do. Also, timing. Your boss's schedule. Are they in a good mood? Are they extra busy? Are they even available? So understand the timing within your organization and try and find the optimum time to ask for a raise. The key point here is also book a meeting. If you need to book a meeting, and you should book a meeting to ask for a raise, that is one step to kind of put your boss on notice to say, "Hey, I'd like to have a meeting to discuss something with you about myself and my career." So do those things and get your timing down. Very, very important. Next one, third, list your accomplishments. So what I mean by that is when you're talking about your next salary and what you think you should earn, it's important to back that up, right? So obviously you need to know that you've actually performed pretty well. The best way to demonstrate that is by listing your accomplishments. So start talking about some of the key things that you've delivered on in the last year. If you've been involved in a big sales project where you've earned an extra $25,000 for the organization or brought in an extra $25,000 in sales or whatever it is, that is something you want to list, write down, think about, because you can build that into your ask in terms of demonstrating the value you have for the organization. So it's really important to understand your accomplishments. Tip number 4, understand the comparables in the market. So meaning what? Well, if you're at the top of your pay scale and your company pays at the top end, and every market comparable out there, other similar sized companies pay way below what you're getting paid, it may be tough to ask for anything more. So how do you do that? Do some research. Look at payscale.com, salary.com, research on LinkedIn, other salaries in similar industries, in similar roles within those organizations and find out what they pay. Once you know that, you'll have a good framework to understand what you're entitled to. Also, in part of that research and understanding those comparables, look within your own organization. A lot of organizations have pay scales. So your pay scale, you may be at a certain point on that pay scale where you're not at the top of that scale. That gives you the opportunity to say, hey, I'm right here on the scale, I'd like to move to here, and here are the reasons why. So that is part of doing your research and understanding the market comparables. Super, super important. Tip number 5, what's in it for your boss? Right? Well, what does that mean? It doesn't mean you're gonna go, well, hey, with that raise, I'm gonna go buy myself a new car, I'm gonna go pay off my mortgage, I'm going to go on a great vacation. No, those are things that are not in it for your boss, those are things that are in it for you. And in the back of your mind, you're going, yes, I would love to use that money for a new car vacation, help me with my mortgage, but what's in it for your boss? So you want to be able to state, as you ask for that raise, what you're hoping to do and deliver for that organization in the coming year. So we've talked about listing your accomplishments. Now let's have that forward look. Let's talk about what you're hoping to do in the next year. So your boss sees that you're committed, you're adding value, and you're continuing to add value to the organization. So talk about what's in it for your boss as you have this conversation with them. Tip number 6, be confident. Okay, asking for a raise is one of those stressful conversations you have with your employer. But in order to advocate for yourself, you have to be confident. And how do you do that? You prepare. You prepare in advance. Now, it's not so much as having a script that you've completely memorized, because then you're going to come across as quite robotic and very stale and dry. You want to have a flowing conversation where you can adapt and pivot and ask other questions, make follow-up points as the conversation evolves. But certainly, you want to be able to be confident in your delivery. So what I suggest, write out what you want to say, practice what you want to say out loud, and be prepared to go through all the tips and little steps that I've just talked about in giving your response. Last tip here, tip number 7, be prepared for no. There's always a chance here that your employer will say no. I'm sorry, we don't have budget for a raise. I'm sorry, you're already at the top and max of your scale within this industry, within our company. No, the timing's not right. Be prepared for no. If you hear no, it's not a, well, forget you and just stare and look and march out of the room. No, be professional, understand, and then it's up to you to decide what you want to do with that information. Is it, let's stay with the organization, see what happens. I'm satisfied in my role. Maybe you want to go for a promotion within the organization to increase your salary that way. Maybe you want to look external at that point and say, you know what, I think my value is better elsewhere. And always remember, this key tip here is when you leave an organization, apply for other jobs and get those other jobs. That's typically where you see the biggest swing in your salary, and it's usually in the range of anywhere from 15 to 30%. You're going to see a swing on the positive side in your salary. So remember that when you're thinking about, okay, they've just said no, well, maybe I do need to look elsewhere, and maybe there's better opportunities for me to seek the salary that I'm looking for. Okay, so those are the 7 tips. I've got a little script. I'm going to read it to you so that you can hear just really simply. Now, this is a brief script. You can add to it and take it how you want, but it's a brief script that will help you see how you can ask for a raise. And the script goes like this. Thank you for taking the time to meet with me today. In my current role, I'm excited to keep working towards key company goals and grow my personal responsibilities, and would like an opportunity to discuss my salary. Based on the research I've done, which includes looking at averages for job titles in this San Diego area, and considering my tenure here, my years of experience and skill set, I think a salary of 11%, or insert whatever dollar value it is you're looking for, is appropriate. In the time since my last salary adjustment, I've worked on several initiatives that have added significant value to the company. For instance, in the last 6 months, I have increased sales by $35,000 and increased customer satisfaction by 40%. I believe this achievement demonstrates my work ethic and value that I bring to the company. This is why I believe I should be eligible for a raise. What are your thoughts? That is as simple as it gets in putting together a bit of a script in advance to help you practice and prepare. Obviously, a salary conversation, a raise conversation is a two-way conversation, and you're going to have to adjust as you go. But by having that script and having those things in mind that you want to say will help you evolve that conversation as you're making the salary raise ask. So that is how you ask for a raise. That is how you get a raise, by doing your research, being professional, and being ready to have the conversation with your supervisor, understanding timing, all of those things. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you get that raise that you're looking for. And like I always say, keep rocking those interviews. Until next time, we'll see you then. Peace.